Welcome to this month's introduction to dotFIT session. I am Kat Bearfield, VP of Nutrition Services and Head Registered Dietitian. And your teacher today is our founder and CEO, Neal Spruce. So you are in for a really cool treat. Not only will Neal cover the history of nutrition in gyms, he'll get into things like the dotFIT difference, what makes us different than other products, mass market products we call them. And then he'll get into something that he coined, a concept called play span. So and this is really nutrients beyond body composition. So make sure you stay till the end for that. Okay, Neal, without further ado.
Okay, and so this is really the whole picture right here that Kat just mentioned, but it's also really about you. You know, I mean, I think that the most important thing in my life has always been that I don't want to just make a living. I want to make a difference. I think most of us got into the business of fitness and sports for that reason. Maybe sports, not so much, but certainly on the fitness side. You know, many of us started as an athlete, but we ended up on the fitness side, and because we really do want to make a difference. So that's really what it's all about. So at the end, the last like 20 minutes is pretty cool, because it's about taking on big pharma and how they have just taken control of all humans in the US and turn them into, people that have to take medications for their whole life. Well, there's no excuse for that. We don't need to. And I'll give you that whole little magic that you can do to pass on to everybody that you work with. So we don't have to face that horrible spiral. But let's get into what this is. The first thing, the history of, and really this is why nutrition in gyms more than it is a history, but we'll just take a look at it real quick. Going back to the 19th century, I mean, what gyms sold was a place to work out, a place to exercise. And if obviously the population was very low, it's just a bunch of male athletes, basically, from the 19th century or all the way up to about 1960. That was pretty much that's what the population was, very small. But here's the difference. The goals were performance and muscle gain. Those were basically the only goals at that time. They didn't come in there to lose weight or anything, because their whole life, once they walked out the door of the gym, was eating. Everything, because anything that happens in the gym, you don't get paid for it except for what you eat when you leave the gym, or how you prepare for it food-wise before the gym. All right, so that we didn't have to worry. There was no attrition. No one ever quit a gym. If they move, they go to another gym. They find one because they needed a place to work out. So that's what we did. Well, today's the same thing. Our general population views a gym that way. Oh, I'll get in shape if I go to the gym. Okay, and that's all fine, but the goals have changed significantly. Because remember something, everybody. Exercise only breaks down muscle. It doesn't build muscle. Exercise only decreases performance. It doesn't increase. It only decreases performance. It doesn't increase performance. Remember that. If you had a 3-hour football practice and the coach pulls you all together at the end of it and says, let's do it again, 3 more hours. Are you better the first 3 hours or the second 3 hours? Obviously, the first 3 hours, because you can't eat anything before you go to the next 3 hours. So bottom line is, we know that exercise is the trigger event for what we want to happen after. And nutrition. So exercise sets the stage for what we want to happen. Nutrition makes the movie. Bad nutrition, bad movie. So again, the problem is now what happened here, where we are today, and actually started happening in the late 60s. We opened the doors to let the world in just as the world was getting fat. So if you look at the stats, obesity really started in the 70s, Overweight started maybe in the 60s a little bit, but they were pretty off the map before that. And you can see the trajectory here. It's ridiculous, on and on forever. And it's so much worse now. It's crazy. So the goals, so people join the gym thinking that that's where I got to get to look the way I want to. Well, the good news is the membership's expanded. But everybody was coming into the gym. These millions and millions and millions of more people coming in the gym had a completely different goal than these athletes. It was all weight loss. It was all to get in shape one way or another. A few of them were still left there, performance and muscle, but almost everything was weight loss. This says 70%, but no one went there to gain fat. So they always had oh yeah, I'd like to lose a little of this at the same time. So bottom line, they changed significantly. All right. So now here's our problem. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, because we live in our own little worlds of people that are fit, our cohorts, that's the world we associate with generally and all that. Well, the problem is that, so we don't see what really happened here. But the gym business, for all of you who don't know, the gym business has the highest attrition rate, the highest failure rate of any business in the world. Now, in our defense, we sell shit people don't want to do, right? They think it's going to change their body immediately, and they're going to start looking like whoever it was because they started working out. Doesn't work that way, obviously. So what we left to the member, don't forget, the previous members back before 1960, the previous members all knew exactly what to do when they left the gym, their food. But we left to the members led to this horrible nutrition rate. And by the way, we still have the top failure rate of any business in the world. Why? Because no instant gratification. Exercise is way too slow. I'll give you those numbers in a second. But when you go to a beauty parlor, think about that, and you drop a couple $100. Now you can join a gym for a year for that much, or $300, whatever. And you drop $300 at a beauty parlor, and you look at yourself after a few hours and you go, wow, worth every penny. That's instant gratification. Doesn't work that way with exercise, with your goal. And if you want to see what it is, little do we know we had the wrong solution. So we had to actually pull back. We're in the gym business now here in the 70s and the 80s. We have to pull back and say, okay, what isn't working? Well, we realized exercise wasn't. So I put actually the latest studies in here. We actually followed 34,000. There's hundreds of studies. I'll tell you even worse stats than this. But we followed 34,000 exercisers for 13 years. And exercisers are defined at 5 days a week for exercise 60 minutes, which is far beyond the recommendation. After 13 years, the average weight gain was 6 pounds. There was zero weight loss. And there was a subset that actually had to do an hour every day, and they still gained, but they had to perform more work to do it. So again, just kind of crazy. If you want to use exercise alone, so every scientist in the world will tell you exercise is not a weight loss solution, period. Now, bottom line is don't poo-poo exercise, because these people that worked out all those years are obviously way healthier than people that don't work out, even if those people that didn't work out didn't gain weight. They're healthier, their bones are stronger, their cardiovascular system's stronger, all these things. But that's not what they joined the gym for. They joined because they want to lose body fat. And if you're not seeing your body fat change every 30 days or 60 days or every week, you're just going to quit. That's what it comes down to. So we have the highest attrition rates, and now you know why. So what also doesn't work? Diet alone. So in our defense, you can't just go diet. So all the weight loss centers started cropping up in the late 60s and 70s when obesity and overweightness was just prevalent everywhere. But here's what happened. And you guys know all the famous diet centers out there. But here's the problem with that. 80 to 90% will gain it back in the first year. 95% will gain all the way back within 5 years. 95%. That's a worse attrition rate at the end of the day. It's just that these people will stick to it long enough to lose the weight. But here's what happens. It creates a weaker structure. When you lose weight, it'd be wonderful if you just lost body fat. God, my job would be so easy. The world would be so easy. We probably wouldn't have to have this conversation. But your body doesn't like that. When you start cutting back calories, your body worked very hard to store that fat. Doesn't want you to lose it. That's an evolutionary trait we have, right? Because it doesn't know when we're going to get food again. So it gets rid of the things that burn your calories, your muscle, your organs. So liver size, organ size, everything shrinks, bones shrink. Okay. And of course you lose body fat. And it's about say 60-40, 60% fat, 40% muscle, lean body mass, muscle. And then of course an organ weight. But what happens then? Now you're running on less calories because your body figured out how to deal with you cutting back calories. It doesn't want you to die. So it got rid of those things that burns calories. But it also creates a weaker structure. So now you're starved to death, always. You smell food and you get fat. It just, you're living that constant rebound, always going through that thing. So that diet alone doesn't work either. What else doesn't work? Supplements alone. You see these infomercials. And when I watch these infomercials about supplements, take this, I lost, and you see all these before and afters. Yeah, I lost 40 pounds taking this product. Well, you mind telling us the rest of the stuff you did? I mean, the bottom line is using them by themselves, most will yield clinically insignificant results. It doesn't make any sense. Now, meal replacements can, but that's a different, they're not supplements, they're really a food product. They can actually work all by themselves, even though that's not what we integrate those into regular workouts and diets and so forth. But bottom line is none of the stuff works by itself. So I'm sure you already guessed what those were. All of it, if you do it right. Now, remembering this, and we're back in my day when we started putting nutrition into gyms, we were the very first obviously, we realized we had a very tight window to get them hooked on fitness. The way they get hooked on the beauty parlor, we have a tight window to get them hooked. We got to make a difference every week. So we made sure they had the other 23 hours when they walked out the door. With flexibility, we made sure they had a meal plan that matched their goal. In other words, if they want to lose 30 pounds in 15 weeks, done. That's the plan you stick to. And if you can eat what you want, you just got to stay to the calories, protein that's in there. That's real simple. Give me the time frame you want to be there, and you will be there if you follow this plan. Exercise, I wasn't worried about. They came in the gym. That's a done deal. And by the way, that's generally the harder part. So they came into the gym. So your harder job is done, right? Because they're already there. You already got that. And that's what helps maintain your health and body composition, including maintaining the weight loss, obviously, but then supplements, because that was their instant gratification. I can make you feel better in the first day if you take a supplement. Exercise only makes you feel terrible the second day and the third day. So bottom line is you're not going to feel great right off the bat, but I can make you feel better just by giving you things your body has been missing for so long. You can feel better, want to work out, have that energy, and then I can also accelerate the results, because guess what? Now I'm feeding your body the nutrients without calories. So when the diet center, all they do is take away your calories, which take away the nutrients, and now you have to lose both muscle, lean body mass, and body fat. But I'm feeding you the nutrients, so you're in a calorie deficit, but you're not a nutrient deficit. And now I'm feeding your muscle, and I'm starving your body fat. And we knew this. I mean, we made a living as bodybuilders and as athletes, so we knew all this. So that's what we put together. That added up to our goal of a quicker addiction to fitness. Thus us. I always told somebody, if you're not seeing a difference in your body in every single week, every 7 days, you're doing something wrong. And I can fix that. So what we did, we put it all together. So for those of you who don't know, I spent 10 years and $10 million putting nutrition in your scope of practice. You are a certified practitioner, educated to deliver nutrition as part of your scope of practice. Just a real simple nutrition solution. You're obviously not clinical like Kat is, a clinical dietitian, and many other people that work for us and that are surrounded with us and all that, because they're the ones that have made sure you had all the right information and put it into your scope of practice. Very simple. Match the user's fitness goal, including, guess what? You're giving them a true dietary supplement recommendation. It's not like the store clerk at GNC or the internet, when people are going to Amazon to buy something. I mean, no one should be buying supplements from anyone there except a qualified person. And you are the qualified person because you've gone through that certification. And it's approved for CECs for all your top organization, including the American Dietetics Association. So you have to be very proud of this and use this, because that's what it's really all about. It really is about making you separate you from the crowd. So when you tell someone this is what you should be taking to get to your goal quicker and to keep you healthy as you're achieving your goal and help you live a longer, better life, bingo. That's the recommendation they should be heeding. All right. So we put it all in one program, and this is our one integrated play. So you've got it all. And we keep adding to it. So we've got now the gluten-free, and we have all the vegan menus as well. So yeah, and again, that's why I say this is their choice. They can pick any one of these menus they want. The calories will be correct for them. That's what it's all about. And we also have a workout program. Most of our trainers have their own workouts they want to do. But if you wanted to create one, this is all because I owned NESM at the time. This is all the NESM workouts in there. You can create one. You can actually do a overhead squat assessment. You can do anything you want with it. That's up to you, whatever you want to do. And then, of course, the integration of the dietary supplements, all third-party tested. Write this down. Practitioner products. Can't buy them in the mass market. If I was in the mass market, we'd all be guilty by association. right? So the bottom line is these are practitioners for you to pass on with true, real, qualified professional recommendation. And it's all available. You can use it from your phone. You can do it from any kind of device you like. And of course, the phone is what most people prefer to do. And then you can attach any app. You know, all of these things, if you're using Fitbit to log your food or any of these types of things, you can attach any of these things, or you can get an activity monitor. It can plug that in and keep track of all that too. They all speak to us. All right, so just a little quick history for you. Adding nutrition to our DNA back in the 80s, we broke tradition to power an empire. And that is really built to expand. That's what it is, an ecosystem to support the future of fitness. So we built an application. I always say education goes into a black hole if you can't apply it tomorrow. And in my world, when we create something, you can apply it tomorrow and make a difference. All right, and that's what it's all about. So it's just a quick history for those that don't know how this all is involved. But it actually all started with Gold's Gym. And actually, we're having a high school. I keep saying that. I'm having the Gold's Gym reunion from the owners from 1965 through 2005 at my ranch on next Friday as a giant reunion for the owners at that time, because Ursa's in San Diego, not too far from here. So a bunch of them are going to come by the ranch. I'm going to do all that. But I was just fortunate to be part of the original group, back when they first started franchising. In 1980 when Pete, Ed, and Tim owned it. So I was an athlete. They hired me. I just won the Western America. They hired me. Hey, we see you're doing these nutrition things. You're talking about nutrition everywhere. We want to open up Gold's Gyms around the world. There's only Venice at the time, right? And they were going to open up Gold's Gyms around the world. And we would love you to do a seminar and kick off all these grand openings. So that's what I did. And 535 gyms later, that was what all about. So I was this poster would hang up out in front of every gym if we kick it off. And I have 1,000 people in the audience, and they just run to the counter to sign up. We turned it into a computerized program in 1988 called Nutrition Analysis. And then I retired from bodybuilding in 93 and started a new company called Apex. I kept all the Gold's Gyms with me, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I started a new company so I could go beyond the brand. I wanted to save the world. I made a commitment to save the world when I was young because sports and fitness saved my life. So I made that commitment. So I formed I formed Apex. And we went worldwide, globally with the nutrition. And then in 1996, I acquired a National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I bought a couple other companies out, a sports performance company and a physical therapy. And I merged them all together to create what you know today. It is the #1 certification company anywhere. I mean, and there are a couple of people that are getting close, but we raised the bar. We were so far of everybody because we raised the bar so high. Everybody goes, oh, shoot, all these guys now. It's actually a real certification. Because I did it to bring credibility to trainers. If I'm going to save the world through fitness, I'm not going to save the world in my days of trainers. In my day of trainers, it was just the biggest guy in the room got the most clients. Well, no one's going to go along with that whole program to save the world. So I brought the NASM certification into the world and took it to the next level. Still, I'll still say it's always the best, but you should be proud of all your certifications. They had to follow us. So if you're any of your NCCA accredited certifications are really do a great job with it all. Now we have the ability to be that preventative side of healthcare, for all our clients. Then I merged Apex with 24 Hour Fitness when I met my partner, Mark Mastroff. And I hear there's a couple of bears out there, a couple of people from the Bears Fit organization. Mark's my partner from day one. Once I merged Apex into 24. But you should also know that we sold 24 Hour Fitness in 2005 for $1.7 billion. And 700 million of that was the contribution from the nutrition. So that's just why we nutrition in all our gyms. And now you know why Bears Fit. Now you know why we do. However, you've got to really deliver on it. It's one thing to have nutrition. It's another thing to deliver on it. Everybody, I have nutrition in our gym. Well, do you do anything with it? That's another thing. So you got to pay attention to that. Another thing I was fortunate enough to do, I actually created the very first wearable device long before Fitbit or any of those. You guys probably saw on The Biggest Loser. That was one of our shows that I was fortunate enough to be a part of. We would wire all the contestants after we selected the finalists. We would wire them all up with the body bug. And so we know how many calories they would burn. We could predict their weight loss and so forth. But anyway, that was the very first one. Fitbit and all the rest of them came after that. And here we are today with dotFIT. After we selling all that, all no one competes up, we built a whole new next generation platform, which is what you're using today. And it's be prepared for the future, all evidence-based. So we drive the biggest brands in the world, including professional sports and everything else. And then this is another company we merged with NESM just recently. So again, NESM has really grown to this next place, adding all these extra certifications, even just put a bodybuilding certification in there for bodybuilding coaches. And then fiber, that's your future. Make sure you all check into fiber. You'll see them at URSA and everything else, but that's the future. All sports and fitness professionals in the world are going to be in that social platform. And it's just going to be a place where everybody's be able to communicate and find everything that they ever wanted in their life for their careers and so forth. So we're just getting started. All right. And now you know why we are the largest player. dotFIT is the largest player provider of all third-party tested nutrition programs and products in the sport and fitness channels. And remember, these are billion-dollar organizations. They can pick anybody they want, but they end up with us all the way around. That includes college and pro sports. Just a couple of brands we have. And what we actually do, we actually build websites for them. So here's some of our local teams out here. We build a dotFIT website, as you can see. This is it. So they come in, the players and their families can come right to their website, click on the dotFIT tab, and get the products they want. All that. All right, so there's that. So now that's a perfect segue into the dotFIT difference. So why do all these organizations sign up with us? Well, it's because we do things a heck of a lot different than the mass market. That's for sure. Don't forget, the mass market has to compete on price. You can't trust it. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming the stores. Amazon get busted every day for their supplements. I'm not blaming Amazon. The persons that are giving it to Amazon, because Amazon's just a seller. GNC is just a seller. They don't know anything about supplements. They're not testing anything. So, bottom line, it needs to be policed, and that's what we do. But here's what you guys should all know behind the scenes. Knowing that 80% of Americans, now it's 80% of Americans, and 85% of the members in your gym use dietary supplements with an average spend of $96.50. That's brand new. And these links are all hot. It's a brand new stat as of 2023. Every month, or approximately $500 a year if you kind of do it and spend it in a different way. And they're paying it somewhere else. We have a captive audience. Why shouldn't they be getting it from a professional? So we needed to save our members from themselves and the price shopping, because they will get what they pay for. You will get nothing most of the time. In other words, under formulation, because at the end of the day, people have little clue what they're looking for. They don't know the proper dosage and form. You're looking at a branch chain. You don't know how much leucine, isoleucine should be in there, what the ratio should be, how much leucine. So they're just going to put in a number. So it says those three things. That's all you're looking for. You don't know how much B6 or how much zinc or magnesium you should have that corrects your food diet. So you're looking at a label, they look at pictures, and it always cracks me up. People, they look at a label and they go, I just like to look over their shoulder. I go, what are you looking at? Do you have any idea what the dosage of lutein, zeaxanthin, alpha lipoic acid, or CoQ10 and that antioxidant should be? And they would look at me and they go, no. Okay, so why are you buying it? Why are you even thinking about it? You're looking at the names because you read it somewhere in a health food thing. So why would we let unsuspecting buyers spend that kind of money based on price? We don't. Therefore, they should only be getting their recommendations from professionals certified, and that's you. So here's some stats, and we don't need to go through all these, but these are interesting ones. When you look at this, anytime the FDA inspects these supplement facilities, over 50% have all kinds of problems with them. But the biggest problem is heavy metals. I just saw this thing on TikTok, and Kat, I don't know if you just saw it. Someone talking about the heavy metals and plant proteins and all these things. They were knocking all your proteins that are sold on Amazon, all the heavy metals. Well, that's why we certify ours, to make sure there are no heavy metals, and we third party do. That's what NSF does. They dig down and make sure there are none. But that's just what you're going to get. You're going to get what you pay for. And heavy metals being mercury, lead, cadmium. So if you're buying the same protein over and over, you're just taking yourself backwards rather than forward if you're not buying one that is such as ours. And then here's just some other things. They find steroids, prescription medications, illegal drugs in them. And now you know why scientists and a lot of health professionals discourage the use. But they all use themselves, by the way. They get it from us or another practitioner product somehow. So just say no. You teach your clients, you teach your family members especially. I think clients are like family members for me. You just say no to the mass market. And here's just some more examples. Imagine this, One Day in Centrum, the biggest ones out there were sued for underformulation. All your proteins were sued, every one of them. I mean, this was just ridiculous here. We knew that. You go to Costco and you could go to a CVS pharmacy or a Walgreens and get a protein the same size as ours, same amount of servings for like half the price, 35 or $30 or something, or maybe two-thirds of the price. Well, guess what was in it? This went on for 5 years. They claimed it was 24 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs. The actual was 2.4 grams of protein and 25 grams of carbs. So you were getting white rice and didn't know it. Okay, just to make, and this went on for 20,000 different brands, all the top ones. And we knew it because we couldn't even buy the raw material for what they were selling it for at a store when it got right down to it. And you click on here and you'll get all that information. All these links are live. It'll tell you about all of the exposure things there. So what's next? You know, look at some of these were just ridiculous. Some of them literally had nothing. But look at your big name. Everybody knows these names. Everyone knows these names that shops for supplements. Big names. That's what they claim the milligrams of branch chain in their protein was. The red is the delta, what was missing. And of course, the left is what was in there. Is that crazy? And again, so I could go on forever. There's a bunch. Some of them had zero protein. What's next? They're going to keep doing that. They compete on price, and people don't know what they're getting, as long as it tastes good. How about this? You know, one of my sons actually made it to the NFL, and this is the first letter he gets when he goes to camp. You know, NFL players are banned from GNC. Of course, he would never go to a GNC for obvious reasons. But the bottom line is, why wouldn't ban all humans from GNC? What players special or something? So anyway, you get the point, I'm sure by now. I put in the latest information right here. This is all the way through 2022. All of the stuff right here. Look at all of these. These are giant companies got busted by the FDA. This is my favorite one, though, because I got this really, Amazon drives me nuts. I could go find it on, you're not going to find us on Amazon. They call me every day. And that's no exaggeration. I want to put your products on Amazon. Are you kidding me? I'd be guilty by association all the way around. And our products are always going to cost a little more because they actually work. Okay, so the bottom line, look at this. The majority of the immune supplements, click on that link and you'll get the whole story. With 4-star ratings, supplement ratings with stars, you know that almost all of them are bogus. They're just totally bogus. You can't, it's not like rating a restaurant. That's a completely different situation, right? Because that's taste, right, and service. But we're talking about something you take, and obviously you know that you got 100,000 people just banging out 5 stars for them that they hire. Bought on Amazon, greater than 4 stars. That's 4 and 5 stars, bought on Amazon. Immune supplements, found the labels did not match what was in there. And most of them had zero science to support the claims. So there you go. All right, so what do we do that's different? We're in the practitioner channel. We do not sell in the mass channel. We're a practitioner product. You'd be very proud of that. Our rules are quite different. We have to prove they work. Dosage and forms. And we don't just say they work like everybody, oh, these work. You don't say that. You got to prove it. You have to create a peer-reviewed style documents that support the dosage and the form that is on the label. Once you've gone through all the clinical trials that had lutein, zeaxanthin, or B6, or whatever you're putting into the product, or the branch chain, you go through all the clinical trials and you look at the dosages that allowed a positive result and the ones that negative results and ones with no results. And you create the ones that match the clinical trials for positive outcomes and the right forms, because there's different forms of different vitamins and minerals. And there are other things. And then they also have to be safe. So it's one thing, it works, and the next thing, it's safe. Shown in not just the same clinical trials that it's safe, but has a history. And then in our world, we actually make sure that if you're taking 3 or 4 dotFIT products, they're not crossing over. We assume everybody's using a complete multivitamin mineral, even if you're not using ours. And that way, when you're taking a calcium product that's got D or magnesium or zinc or an antioxidant that's got some of the same things in it, you're not going over the upper limit. When Mr. or Mrs. Jones goes to a health food store and buys a calcium, because the doctor told him to get a calcium, well, it's got 3 or 4, it's got zinc, magnesium, and some other things in it. Well, so does our multi. And so does an antioxidant in many cases. So now they've gone over the upper limit. So we make sure that can never happen in our world. Then purity and potency, everything is tested from start to finish, but we prove it. We don't just say that. We prove it. Documentation's all done. It's all filed. And we actually have to file it with our board. And then nutrient delivery. We take it a little too far with this one here. We actually use the drug technology to be able to get everything to the right place at the right time. It's one thing to swallow a pill and see what happens to it, or swallow a powder or a capsule. But don't you want to get to the target tissues? And we can do that. Just like you can get a drug to the target tissues, we can get vitamins and minerals to their target tissues by enrobing them and by using a controlled release. And then other things we want in the stomach very quickly, like a powder or a capsule, we can get them delivered to target tissues much faster. And then, of course, truth in labeling. That's obvious because we third-party test everything. And then it goes through you. That legitimizes the recommendation. And you've got the whole shebang. That's the practitioner channel. And that's you. So your takeaway is this. It doesn't do any good to third-party test something that doesn't work because it's going to pass the third-party test. So if you're buying a branch chain that is totally ineffective, it's only got 2 grams of leucine. And by the way, you'd be surprised. I've seen these. They're everywhere. It's got a 0.5 gram of isoleucine, 0.5 gram of valine, and 2 grams of leucine. That's not enough for a small mouse, let alone human being, to make a difference. But if I put that in a container, I can third-party test it, and it's going to say pass third-party test. NSF will say it, but it doesn't mean it works. In fact, if you go to all the third-party testers like NSF, it says on their website, it means it's clean from heavy metals. It means it doesn't have any drugs, spiked in it, and the label matches the contents, but we do not say it works. But we've already proved it worked, right? On number 1. And then what? Then we third-party test to make it in there. So your takeaway from this is documentation. You have to have one first, that the dose is informed, match positive clinical trials found in your practitioner dietary supplement guide. These are all live links. That's all that giant peer review. Just one product might have 40 pages, and 10 of them are references that support the clinical dose. And that you submit the documentation, and then you third-party test the product to make sure the product is at the dosage that you documented. And you have it. And of course, no one does that because they don't have to. And here are the videos on everything I just said in that last 10 minutes, whatever it was, are all in these very short videos. So make sure every incoming trainer into your organization just clicks on any of these videos here to watch it. That 6-minute one I like to recommend the most. The one on the left talks about third-party testing, because in sports, you're looking at a lot of third-party tested products, but they don't know that's the right dosage. So that's a different one there, but it's very close to the same thing. All right. Now we're done with the first 2 pieces. Now let's get to the last one. And this is sort of, this is the one that's most dear to me because this is my, call it my swan song. Maybe the last, I'm 70 years old now and I've been doing this for 40. But this is probably the thing that's most dear to me because this is the part that's going to make the difference in the world. My goal right now is to take on big pharma and just get this thing fixed because it's just out of control here. And this is really all we need to do. It's so simple. So bottom line is with what you guys now have access to, right? With a simple, authentic nutrition component added to what you're already doing, which is you're instructing exercise, right? We are not just ready for the future of fitness. We can drive it. We can be the future of fitness. That's what it's going to be about. And that's why, so I call this play span compared to your lifespan and self-care. Self-care is something you want to write down because you are going to be the self-care expert. You're going to be the very first line of that. So they're done with big pharma. They want to take care of themselves. Well, they're going to need you to kickstart that with all that right information. And that, of course, is a very inexpensive process compared to big pharma. So saving the world through fitness, that's my goal. I've been saying it since I was 24, by the way. You can go back to even old, 8 tracks that would have tapes of me and people would film me and stuff like that. It'll actually say that I'm gonna save the world through fitness. And I call it play span versus lifespan. But we have the power to get people's play span equal to their lifespan. So fitness would be your healthcare solution versus the sick care solution that we have today. And when I call it sick care, I mean, it's known as disease care. That's our healthcare system. It's not healthcare. Healthcare means that someone's taking care of your health while you have it. That's what it comes down to. And that's us. So we can serve as the primary self-care lifetime resource to help people stay active and avoid the big pharma trap. So let me give definitions for you here. Play span, lifespan, and self-care. And we're going to write this down. Every day of life for every human being Every mammal, every day of life, every plant for that matter, is only as good as your recovery from the last. Your trillions of cells are constantly replacing themselves every day and repairing themselves. And the only way you do that is with the nutrients that you bring in from the outside. Not the calories so much, the things that are inside the calories that don't have any calories. Your vitamins and minerals. Life doesn't start without your vitamins and minerals, and it can't be maintained without vitamins and minerals. You take in less than your body can use, you get a lesser body. Not a trick math equation. So lifespan is how long you live. There's a note here, and I'm going to give you that stat in a little bit also, but we have the shortest lifespans among all pure nations. And we have the highest healthcare costs per person. Remember that. That's pretty embarrassing. We have the shortest lifespan. By the way, pure nations means they're equal to us. They are developed nations. There's 50 of them on a list. We have the shortest lifespan of all of them and the highest healthcare per person. And by the way, the one that has the lowest healthcare per person has the highest lifespan. And our healthcare is all drugs. That's what it's all about. Health span is how long you're healthy. Now, I didn't coin this phrase. This phrase was coined by doctors back in the early 70s, late 60s, because people were living longer, but no better. In fact, they're getting worse. So we're just keeping alive with machines, with transplants, all these things that were 100% avoidable. But so it's how long you're really healthy, or what we call a disease-free, but not all the way independent. You may be on medication, but we counted that as a part of your health span. Play span, I coined this about 25 years ago, working with athletes, getting, the GMs for a pro team or, college coach, how long do you think they can play or whatever? What's their competitive play span? So we always said, then I go, doesn't everybody want to have a play span until the end of days? So I just kind of took it and moved it into the world. But here it is. And by the way, these are all live links. You get a nice deep definition on all these things here, especially play span. How long you're physically and mentally able to do the activities that are important to you. So in other words, if you live to be 100 and you're a golfer, you want to be on your favorite golf course and you want to be on that 18th green and you putt it, you sink that putt and you drop dead right there in the green. Perfect life. If you're a cyclist, you used to race bicycles when you were in your 20s and 30s and maybe in 40s and masters and 50s. And now you live to be 100. Well, guess what? And you don't have to have any of your kids haul you around. You can walk right out to your garage and get on that bike. You're not going to ride it as well as when you were 40 or 50 or 20 or 30, certainly. But you get on it on your own. No one's helping you around to the theater or any place. You're on your own. You get out there, you ride it, you get on it, you ride around the block, you put it right back there in your garage again, and then you drop dead. That's a perfect life. Done deal. That's play span. And there's no reason we can't live that way. There's no excuse for it. There's a minor exceptions to that rule. Obviously, it's a small percentage. All right, but self-care. Now, here's the big one. This is the hottest thing going today. People, self-care is what we call self-care, self-health care. And this is a decision-making process that empowers individuals and families to look after their own health efficiently and conveniently in collaboration with someone like you, right, as needed. The goal is to stay structurally and functionally active to help avoid the current broken healthcare system, which is called sick care, and that includes big pharma. So that's what self-care is. The pendulum has just gone too far. Okay, I'm overweight. I'm going to go to a doctor. I need this. Everything's about a drug these days. Well, it's gone too far. So how do I plan on saving the world through fitness? Well, first of all, you have to identify the problem. We've done that. We break too early. And then for the rest of our lives, we have to rely on medication. So that's the problem. So why does that happen? Right here. Common and unavoidable nutrient shortages. Don't forget, the nutrients are the things that come from our environment that we go into our body. Your skin, your hair, your nails, your organs, your muscle tissue, everything is taken from the environment and we convert it into our needs. And the vitamin minerals are the actuators of every single part of our metabolism. And no one accidentally gets all the vitamin minerals and essential nutrients that they can use accidentally from eating the foods we choose today. I don't care if you're eating the best diet in the world. You're either arrogant or just uneducated on the fact that that's impossible. It would never happen, right? So there are common and unavoidable nutrient shortages, but they're silent. You can't hear it. So your body, when you're hungry for food, your body's crying out to you. You're hungry, you're dizzy, your stomach's growling. It's time to eat. So you need the calories, the energy. Well, guess what's in those calories are the nutrients that have no calories, but they are the ones that make the body. They're the building materials for your body. They're the actuators of everything that's going on. So that hunger is silent. It doesn't go, you can't hear it go, your magnesium. Neal, you're low on calcium today. Oh, you're low on zinc today. You're low on B6 today. Oh, you're low on B2. You're low on all of this stuff. You don't get any of that, right? So the bottom line is it's silent. So those are nutrient shortages that you're not hearing, like food, but they're depriving the body of its full structural and functional potential, perpetuating inactivity. That's why we stop moving, because it happens in the very beginning of life. Think about this for a minute. The prenatal is nothing more than a multivitamin mineral. I know you guys know that, right? And it became mandatory in the 70s that every doctor, pediatrician, OBGYN, everyone American Dietetics had to prescribe a multivitamin mineral to a conceiving mother. That single act wiped out 35% of all major birth defects, because that baby can't go in there and say, I need more zinc, Mom. I need more B6. That single act. Now the omega-3s are part of that whole structure thing too. Why would you stop taking them? When the baby comes out, you're still on a multivitamin. You've been supplementing your entire life in the womb. Now you come out, you're still on one. You're breastfeeding with the mom taking the prenatal, so it's coming there. And then after that, you're on a liquid. You're on your baby formula, and that's a multivitamin mineral. It's all loaded in there. So we're getting past that stage anyway, but now the breakdown starts. So that 8-year-old doesn't know, the body's not going on that 8 or 9-year-old, 10-year-old. The body's not going, you need more calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K because our bones are getting weaker and cardiovascular system. I'm keeping you alive, but it's getting weaker, so they fracture. And kids that don't get enough calcium and magnesium and vitamin D growing up fracture 8 times more than kids. We actually measure that by milk drinkers versus non-milk drinkers, because that stuff's in milk. And when they stop drinking milk, they're not getting it because they're just going to Jack in a Box. So bottom line is we know that. I'm not saying you have to use milk. There's many other ways of getting it. But think about that. It's the vitamins and minerals that are being missed that are causing the structural weakness. So that's what's depriving of our full structural and functional potential, perpetuating not moving. That kid's not going to play ball now. They're not going to be active. They start gaining weight, because they get hurt every time they play. And that leads to a weaker in body and mind throughout life. Thus, early onset of illness, sick all the time, early aging, and early avoidable breakdown. We could have avoided it by making sure we had all those things throughout life, and a life dependent on prescription drugs and a broken healthcare system, otherwise known as sick care. And that's where we are. So once you identify the problem, here's what it is. We are what we eat. But here's the part I added to that. Everybody's heard that. You are what you eat. Obviously, because everything we're made of came from the environment. We don't get all the things we need properly. We get way too much of some of the things, right? But we get way too little of the most important things. Nutrients first, calories second. You got to think of it that way. Meaning we become what we missed. So that kid, let's say that kid didn't fracture, but by the time they're 30 or 40, they already have osteopenia, weakening bones, because they never got enough. They never got enough vitamins and minerals throughout life to help build those bones. And this goes on to your cardiovascular system, your cognitive system. They didn't get enough to repair the cells in their brain daily on a regular basis. They didn't get enough. So it's compromised. So early dementia, and no matter what part you're thinking of. So we become what we missed. That's my add to that statement. Solution. I guess you figured that one out. A daily flow of the body's building materials. Okay, your vitamin minerals, your essential fatty acids to support the desire and ability. First of all, you want to be active because you've got all this. You got all the vitamins, all your metabolism fired up to its maximum. I got a great diagram on that. And the ability, and then you have the ability to remain active. And that would change the paradigm shift in establishing and maintaining health. So that's the solution. So here it is. Maintaining nutrient recommendations with caloric efficiency. There are no calories in vitamins and minerals. right? And I can give you the other thing, amino acids in a much less calories. So I'm making sure you have all the nutrients first and the calories will come. Now, nutrient dense, but calorie efficiency. And that will cause the activity. And of course, if you're active and you're meeting nutrient recommendations, what's the rest? Your body composition is going to be good. Subsequent fitness, making us better. So again, I'm saving the world, making us better in every phase and aspect of life through compounding positive health outcomes. Says, guess what? I didn't fracture when I was a kid. We're not talking about contact injuries. We're talking about just breaking, right? I wasn't sick all the time. The compounding positive health outcomes, thus the potential for individual independence, just like the golfer and the cyclist, which in turn would make a world a better place. Way better. Because otherwise we're all confined to the world that we live in today. And that includes depression and all the other things, because everything is vitamin mineral dependent. And it needs to be personalized. Here's where you come in. Because these people need you as their resource so they can carry on with their families. So the new mentality would be simple, intuitive fitness, you viewed as a person's primary self-care solution to avoid as much possible our current broken healthcare big pharma circle. Grow strong and stay strong. Now you know why we use that for everything. So here it is. And then, by the way, this emerging shift, it pretty much is, it's been going on for a while, but COVID just accelerated it like crazy. It's rooted in the fact that people finally got it. Oh, medication didn't create me. Nutrition creates human being. I mean, it's like somehow people forgot that. We didn't inject a mom with a medicine and a baby grew, and we keep injecting the baby and doesn't eat anything. Or, I mean, it's like, yeah, nutrition creates the human. That means it creates our health, not medicine. That's after the fact. Health is the domain of nutrition, not medicine. It is the domain of nutrition as it starts. And activity. The activity opens up our body to more nutrition, a stronger structure. We have all the vitamins and minerals, amino acids. We start working out, we get even more of those things our body can use more, builds a stronger structure. So that's really what we're talking about. So this new awareness and the dangers of pre-existing conditions, which all came from COVID, along with the growing distrust in big pharma, we already know that, not just the opioid crisis. So no, that's part of it, but the overprescribing of antibiotics. And then they got to give you 3 drugs for one condition because you got side effects from the first drug. Now you got to get another drug for the side effects of that one. And you're in a cycle you can't. And that's what's driving the desire for self-care. So here it is. We have the shortest life and health span of all peer nations and the highest medical expenses, 14,000 per person in the US. And we live shorter than everybody. I got this. I'll show you on the next slide or next couple of slides here. Our medical, and then the highest lifespan is Japan, and the lowest medical expenses at 5,000 per person of developed nations, right? Look at this next numbers. These links are all live for you. 66% of every human being in the US, 18 or over, is on daily prescription medication. I want to throw up when I see that, when I hear that. 75% of people 50 years and older, 87%. So basically 90% of 65 years and older, regular prescription medication. By the way, by the time you're 65, most people have 2 chronic diseases as well, which means they're never going away. Well, I mean, we can keep people alive for a long time by just hooking them up to stuff. But healthcare is the future, and you're it. You help people keep doing what they want. I guarantee they'd rather see you and go to a gym than go to a hospital and see a doctor. I guarantee that. They'd rather have a little pill box of supplements. Very inexpensive things here that you take daily to complement your food so you're nutrient dense versus a pill box of drugs. I guarantee it. So fitness is primary preventative side of healthcare through self-care. And we call it the protection before cure approach. And that's what's happening now. There's a paradigm shift in people's mind. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's not my saying. That's Benjamin Franklin in the 18th century. But the rest of it's mine. It's better and easier to stop something from happening in the first place than to repair the damage after it has happened. And no one disagrees with that. No doctor, no anybody, even big pharma can't disagree with it. They just want to repair stuff. That's how they make money. That's why they're the biggest business in the world. So fitness is healthcare versus disease care. So here's the facts today, folks. This is a nice little graph for you, right? Here's where we are today in the US. And these are all, I have to keep changing this. I just changed it to 76.8, it's the lifespan, average lifespan, 76.8. That's male, female combined. Females a little bit longer, males a little less. So you ready for this? 76.8. That was just a couple of years ago. I was lecturing in China or Europe somewhere. It was 78.8. Now we're down to 76.8. It's going backwards for the first time in the history of our species continuously. People are on your health span. The average in American is 64 before they're no longer independent. 35 is play span. That's when they stopped doing the things that they did when they were younger. In other words, because by 35, 70% of the population is already overweight. Okay. And I'm not talking about your peers. I'm talking about the people in the real world. Okay. 35% stop doing the things they love because they gain weight. They get into the working world. They gain weight, eat like crap because they're young. They feel like they're immortal. Then they go back to try to do something while they're overweight. They hurt their knees, their back, and they stop doing it for all. Their play span ends at 35. And all of this is based on this fact here. And these links are live. This is all based on the fact that they're following the recommendations, the nutrient recommendations and activity recommendations by 40%. Now watch this. How do we fix this? Start the self-feeding cycle the other way around. Big Pharma has a self-feeding cycle for itself. We want to start it the other way around. Necessary to play to the end. So this doesn't happen. So our lifespan equals our play span going up. So the formula is real simple. Eat the best you can while always maintaining nutrient recommendations through caloric efficiency. Again, I call it feeding the silent hunger. Someone write that down. Feeding the silent hunger before you break. Because you can't hear the zinc and the calcium, magnesium, the things that are actually making your body up and it's stuck in there to make your cells reproduce and all the things they do. You can't hear those. You just hear the calories. And the rest can happen once we do that. We feed the silent hunger, the rest can happen, which is activity and healthy body composition. In other words, the foundation is first, like the prenatal, or the rest doesn't matter. You come out with a deformity as a kid or problems mentally as a kid, it doesn't matter. It's too late. So the bottom line is the foundation is first and the rest doesn't matter because without your foundation, you will still break down early. So let's look at that. Let's look at the projected increase in health and play span based on how long someone lives. Because I don't know if you get hit by a train when you're 30, right? So I'm not going to predict your lifespan, but obviously we can be better at it. Based on adhering to the recommendations people give us, we're giving on those nutrient recommendations, because that drives their adherence to all this. Because you won't be able to or want to follow the activity recommendations we're giving you if your structural and functional foundation is flawed. You just won't do it. So watch this. Now, let's say you live to 85. And again, because you could live to 85 and still have a play span of 35, right? Because we can extend many ways someone's life. They just can't do anything. But if that person was at 85 and we're following our recommendation by 50% rather than 40, watch this. I just added 20 years potential to their play span and this. And these are all real links, real live, right? If they follow 60, they live to be 90 and they follow what we tell them to do by 60%. We're just talking about filling gaps. Now that they're moving a little bit, because again, you got to do that first and then we'll start moving and they'll easily follow this much. Look at that. You're pretty much there. That's a pretty good run right there. 75%, which is nothing so easy. I'm not telling you what to eat. You don't have to be even close to being perfect. You just got to fill your gaps with caloric efficiency and you're done. Look at this. If you live to be 95, your health span basically is even. Your play span, you're still active all the way through your 80s, doing the things that you were doing before. Not as well, but you're doing them. 85%, and you live to be 100, bang. And this is where we all should and can be. Simple. And the earlier you start these three things, which is filling your nutrition gap, that will make you active, that will control your body composition, the truer the numbers. But it all starts with that. So bottom line is this. Caloric efficiency, no gap nutrition equals energy in the first place and structural and functional potential, because that's what builds our body and makes us want to move. That leads to the ability and desire to be active, which creates healthy body composition, or what I like to call an addiction to feeling and looking good. So you keep it there. And that's what this all can happen. We'll come back to this at the very end as I give you the formula for this. Whenever I do this lecture, someone will always say, what happens if I start? Is it too late for me now? Well, it really depends. If you're already broken down, you got osteoporosis and you're 70, and you would obviously could have avoided that easily if you were doing this stuff in the very beginning. You're not going to, you might stave it off a little longer from the inevitable happening, but you're not going to go back and fix anything. But you get it, the sooner you start, the truer these numbers. All right. So look at this. Bottom line is these are the gaps from our food. So we talk about the gaps here. Those gaps are on the right. These are the gaps that people don't realize if they're not taking a complete multivitamin. Remember, they're indispensable components of life and health, as all systems are vitamin mineral dependent. Get less than the body can use, get less structural and functional potential. It's like building a building out of straw and sticks versus brick and mortar and steel. If you can use brick and mortar steel, it's going to last a long, long time. Don't forget, the body cannot make these parts. They come from our foods. So here's the gaps. Look at this. These are our gaps from food. This is the silent hunger you cannot hear. There are no gaps in our calories. Trust me. Hence, the prenatal was born because of this. But look at this. Every human being on the planet that is not taking a real complete multivitamin, not a Centrum or One a day, we already know they got problems, but a real one that's got the 20 known under-consumed nutrients in here, everyone's in at least 5 to all these categories. Those are the holes in your body that you're gonna break at some point. You just don't know it's happening yet. And then you add omega-3s to it. So you add omega-3s and the vitamins and minerals. This is the primary known under-consumed. We have databases. We know what people are eating. These are the primary ones right here that are known. Percentage of population below the RDA. And the RDA really is what the body can use to maximize short and long-term health. Food is what the body gets, and there's a gap between the two, and that's what you're looking at, the gap. What's making it worse today? Human choices. We got more diets, and these diets have just complete food groups missing all the way. So you got missing nutrients. These are shorted from the diet. So these they need to supplement more than anybody, people on these type of diets that are common today. So at the end of the day, telling humans, because we have too many choices, and we want choices. They can get all the vitamin minerals they need from food alone and eat properly in an acceptable number of calories. That's a fool errand. You can't eat 6,000 calories to get your vitamins and minerals. And not only that, people that eat more actually have worse vitamin mineral intake. So again, it's impossible. We have too many choices, and we're going to want our choices. So keep that. And by the way, these are all those 1, 2, 3 are brand new studies, but all these are hundreds of studies that shows no one has ever got the RDA of all vitamins and minerals from food alone. Never happened. So what does this mean? So how are we living? What does this mean? You have a potential silent problem brewing, like the kid without the calcium and magnesium and vitamin D. Later on in life, it's going to happen. This is where you live without knowing the future. I told you I put a picture to that whole thing. So the bottom line is take the known shortages right here. These are the insufficiencies we just looked at. Superimpose them across the vitamin mineral graph. Vitamin minerals are the actuators of all human metabolism. So the activity of our vitamins and minerals at 100% is where it crosses the RDA. There's the RDA right here. So we want to be in this green area. Well, food gets us into this area, 60 to 85%. So our body is functioning. We go to work. We can go to practice. We can do all. We just don't know. We're functioning at 60 to 85% of our potential. We get sick. Our immune system is functioning at 60 to 85% of its potential from food alone, right in here. All that. So things are going to break down at some point. It's just sneaking up on you. You just don't know when. Sick all the time on a regular basis. And the omega-3s are in there as well. Because insufficiencies are silent, as I've been talking about for quite a while. Thus, they have an undetectable starting point that begins an insidious progression, slow progression that physically manifests as that fracture or an illness, an injury, weight gain. It causes weight gain. Because the vitamins and minerals are missing in your appetite. Well, guess what controls your appetite? Vitamins and minerals. So when you're low on them, yeah, you just want to eat and eat. So weight gain, stress. This world we live in today, vitamin minerals control your stress, your stressors. And they'll all show up later in life and career and early aging disorders. Because the body is naturally going to triage. In other words, if you don't get enough vitamin D to satisfy all the thousands of areas vitamin D works in the body, you don't get enough vitamin K to satisfy the 30 or 40 different areas of vitamin K, it's going to go to the most important ones first. And it shorts the long-term ones. So you end up with cardiovascular events or dementia because you're not getting enough to support the reproduction of those cells because it's got to keep your heart pumping. It's got to keep this working. So the vitamins and minerals that you're getting that are short are going to those places. At least it keeps you alive, right? So it's always going to favor short-term survival over long-term health, and that will end up triggering you a prescription drug remaining lifestyle. So the bottom line is here, vitamin minerals is what the body gets, right? The RDA, they weren't known, but now they are. And we have them all out there. And if we beat that number, we would have a much stronger structural and functional systems rather than where they were here. So here's what we do. Simple. Correct food nutrient content to achieve calorie recommendations. We get the proper amount of protein. The older we get, the more protein we need. That's another thing most adults miss, right? You think these big, giant, young guys need a lot of protein? We need more. Skinny old people need more protein. Maximum vitamin, mineral, omega-3, O3, and of course, omega-3 activities, protein activity without adding calories. There's no calories there. In fact, I'm reducing your calories by giving you a lower calorie protein to mix with your other food proteins to achieve your nutrient-dense calorie efficiency. I move you in there with calories that promote leanness. In fact, if anything, I reduced your calories. I fed the silent hunger before you broke. So the function of a lifelong, inexpensive, low-dose, complete multi is to offer the potential for your vitamin dependent systems to operate at full capacity in the creation and maintenance of human structure, function, health, and recovery. And by the way, you see that link right there where it says no one would be immune to the benefits? Click that on. It'll show you that healthy people live better when they're supplementing, no matter how you eat. Doesn't matter. Obviously, it's most important for the people that don't eat well. But there you have it. So what's that look like? You guys already know, you've taken your certification. You know that there's only, you've got to have a complete multivitamin mineral from womb to tomb. I know you already figured that out. But it's got to have the right amount, the 20 known potential underconsumed vitamin minerals to correct the food intake properly, not just throw a bunch of stuff in there. It has to be those and match the database that we know humans generally eat, right? All of that. So that's your first thing. And then the calcium, it is a mineral, but it does, if you need it, it doesn't fit in a multivitamin. So you take it separately. But it's so important that you get enough calcium that now it's became mandatory by law. I mean, it's almost 3 years ago now. Every food product has to have the calcium content on it. So you can actually look and find out. You can't see the other vitamin minerals in your food, obviously. So that's why that's not negotiable. That is not negotiable there. This is negotiable too. If you're getting 4 servings of fatty fish, you don't need this for the minimum recommendation. If you're an athlete, most athletes take 3 or 4 a day for recovery. But otherwise, you just look at your plate. You can see the fish. You're getting 4 servings a week. You don't need this. You'll get enough for your minimum recommendation. And then your protein. This is what saves you money. This is what saves you money on everything. If you add a protein powder, not only is it convenient, but you can get 50 grams. You're before and after your workout, 25 grams before, 25 grams out. There's 50 grams of your protein requirement. And don't forget, if you want to stay active, you need 1 gram per pound of lean body mass of protein daily. If you don't want to stay active, then forget it. No, the whole conversation is useless. But if you want to stay active, you have to have that. So if 50 grams of your protein are coming from a very inexpensive, but a higher quality source than fish or chicken or beef at all, because it is, right? And more convenient, well, then you've already licked it. You've saved yourself $30, a minimum of $30 per person on groceries monthly. So there it is. That's it. And you have now got it done. This is your caloric efficiency. Check those things off, and guess what? And there's your summary. So bottom line is, this inexpensive addition to your training gives the potential to change a person's life by maximizing their energy, fully recovering every day. And that creates the ability and desire to be active. So here's the 3 actions in our control for self-care. 1, I see how it's reversed. They came to you, so they haven't got the nutrition part yet. They came to you, so the activity's covered. They're in the gym now, but you got to keep them there with number 1, right? Which is feeding a silent hunger by adding a simple dietary support. You know how ridiculously inexpensive that is to fill the known gaps in any acceptable calorie diet, to start the energy in the first place and keep them active, building a strong foundation, leading to the final part, maintaining healthy body composition. Calories with maximum nutrition equals energy, leanness, and addiction to fitness versus an addiction to big pharma. So meet the nutrient requirements first, drives the activity and a healthy body weight. And we got it. Now our structural and functional potential for our play span to equal our lifespan. So think of it this way. This is your facility on the left here. It's better and easier to stop something from happening in the first place. So healthcare or disease care. You can work with my staff now self-care experts, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, or their staff later, which is the before drugs approach. So in other words, protection before drugs with side effects approach. That's what's, unfortunately, people go here first, and that's the world we live in today. They come to us with a simple solution. We just making it better for whatever they're already doing. And guess what? Here we are. So the only thing on here you need to see is the undisputed cornerstones of a healthy, active lifestyle. No one argues this. Centurion, no one argues this. Are 1, meet nutrient recommendations, which drives 2, regular activity, which establishes and maintains 3, a healthy body weight, in that order. You can't reverse it. You got to meet nutrient recommendations so the rest can happen. And then start filling our gaps from the beginning, from the prenatal. And all these things happen. Our lifespan can equal our play span. And again, I don't know how long you're going to live. Other things can happen to you in your life, but at least you have the potential structurally and functionally from day one for all good things to happen and play as long as you live. So imagine this. So this is my little world here. Hopefully when I leave this place, I will be seeing this, that people have a health cabinet versus a medicine cabinet. And by the way, that's a picture of a typical family's medicine cabinet. It's just gross and embarrassing to me that we've gotten to that place. So this is the prevention cabinet, right? Right here, before drugs. So you can pay a very little now or a whole lot later and more than just money. But that would be the ultimate goal right there. If I could see that happen. Now, we always know there's drugs are there for certain reasons. There's plenty of people that would need them on a normal basis, or not on a basis, but 90% could be wiped out. Like antibiotics. We can prevent ourselves from antibiotics, most overprescribed drug. 90% of people on antibiotics don't need them, but they're the most overprescribed drug. It's all business at the end of the day. Well, we can keep ourselves from getting sick to have to even go to a doctor to get those things, or we can get over the sickness ourselves. All right, final takeaway, feed the silent hunger before you break, and the rest can happen. Because the undisputed things are things we already talked about. Meeting essential nutrient recommendations as soon as possible with caloric efficiency will drive better eating movement behaviors, as opposed to big pharma allowing bad behaviors. So big pharma allows people to eat like crap. They'll just gain weight, they get diabetes or pre-diabetic, and they go get a pill for it. They allow that to happen. People that take supplements actually end up eating better because they move better. It's a great cycle. And everyone can do it, and they can do more through an inexpensive self-practitioner, that's you. So each person can manage their health and create a play span that's equal to their lifespan. And then it's little notes from me that you guys can look at later. You have this deck. So I put this down here. If you're going to present this to everybody, let's take your results beyond diet and exercise. We're going to feed muscle, skin, brain, and other important tissues while starving body fat by incorporating target. I just put this in here for you. So this just shows you. And that's it. That's all you got to do is your multi. We have one for every life phase. We have a protein for every diet preference. Doesn't matter. All natural, vegan, and all your regulars. Have them from all. So these little one-liners, we talked about all these things throughout the lecture, but I just put them all in one slide. So you're teaching your onboarding trainers, every person, hopefully all your family members, every single person in the world should be doing this. And then we've got a good shot. And you guys know what your promotional materials are. We have a very robust marketing section for all you guys. And I put a little library back here together for you also with the products we talked about today. So you got it all here. I just want to show you all that, and we'll open it up. There's all your different proteins, one-liners. I just put a library so you don't have to go looking anywhere else for it. All right. Oh, I have one. There's a little note now. There's a little note I would like to share with you here. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, if I can find it. We are at the hour, so I want to make sure you have it. And now, yeah, you can do, these are personalized by your age group. So there's a kids play span package there. There's a women's, over 50, men's, everything else, and they're all here. So I put them all lined up here as your kids, your over 50, your vegan pack. Oh, yeah, your vegan pack. I forgot about that. There it is. Okay, there you go. There was a little saying I had here, but I couldn't find it. It's pretty cool, though. All right, I'm stopping to share. Let's open it up.
Okay, you guys, hopefully it's clear now why nutrition is so important for your members, not just for their body composition goals, but for their quality of life, their play span. Now you have all the tools needed. So If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A box. Or if you want to go on camera and interact face to face, we're happy to bring you on screen.
And hopefully you got the fact how easy that is. I mean, there's no one in my orbit, and that's thousands of people that do not do what I just showed you. And, forever. And it's just like, it's easy, inexpensive, and we can change the world by everybody doing that. And the earlier they start, the better chance we have. So hopefully you got that message, is that this is not about all the other things. I mean, imagine me giving someone creatine if they weren't doing that. Imagine me giving someone NO7 if they weren't doing that. I mean, really, what's the difference? Now, I get you want to get to your goal, and young people think they're going to live forever. I mean, I was like that. I was immortal until I retired from bodybuilding. I was a 265-pound freak. I could walk through a wall and, can think about it, but that changes. And you don't think about it when you're young. So I always try to get it there. I bring up the prenatal. I bring up all those things.
Okay, Colby, how can we have a dotFIT rep coming to Bears Fit for a PT training class? Yeah, we can have Brian come out and visit.
Brian, yeah. And he's been there a while back. So, I mean, maybe... I forget when it was, but yeah, that's done. Just Brian will come out.
Okay.
We'll make a note right now. Berlinda will make a note for you.
I'm going to drop my email and then we can follow up with each other, Colby. Okay. How many PTs do you have right now? Just curious. I'm asking Colby, how many trainers, 14, great. Okay, awesome.
Oh, good. Very nice. Yeah.
Just set some time aside, and he can actually do a manager training when he visits, as well as one for the trainers as well.
Yeah.
So he can share best practices as a manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else we got there? Some more questions. We got to do that. Or takeaway. Somebody learned something today. Open yourself to the camera. Unmute. Can they unmute themselves?
They can't, but if they raise their hand,
raise your hand. We'll do it. Yeah.
And congrats, Colby and Tony are already dotFIT practitioners.
There you go, Tony.
You made our day with that news.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because I do this every 2 months. I'll do this intro live. I want to do it live because I want to be face to face with you, even though I'm not. I just want to. I want to be there with you. You can ask me anything that you like.
Anything.
That's right. Somebody have a good takeaway. What are a couple of things I said to write down? Somebody just put in the chat box. Pretty easy. Only a couple of one-liners there. What struck you today that you might be able to use to get someone to understand what they should be doing?
There's just so much information, Neal.
Yeah, but I mean, if you could write some of the stuff down, there's always something that clicks with each person individually,
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Lifespan, health span, play span. Okay, good. We got one there.
Powerful.
Okay. So what are you going to feed everybody? What are you going to feed? What are you going to tell people to feed? Powerful. Thank you. What are you going to tell people to feed? Oh, there it is right there. That's my guy. Feed the silent hunger.
Feed the silent hunger.
You can't hear it. Otherwise, when you start feeding it, when you break. And then what are you feeding it with? Drugs.
Yeah. Yay. This to win
your awesome.
We want to see you there.
Yes. Yeah, the one in April's coming up.
Absolutely. We definitely want to see you guys there. That'd be great to have you both there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So what we will do is we will post this recording onto our website in the webinars and masterclass section. That's probably going to happen Monday. And then I'll also post the slides as well if you guys want to download those and use them to train your staff. Okay, and then just as a reminder, we have Frank Nash's masterclass coming up on the 23rd at 11 Pacific. That's Scaling for Success. And then Emily Ho's teaching on micronutrients, a little bit more nutrition education on April 7th at 11 Pacific.
Right.
Okay, last call, guys. Any last comments or questions? Ryan says you guys are amazing, great message, and thank you for your time. Thank you for being here, Ryan. We appreciate you guys.
Always. Thanks, you guys, for everything. Appreciate it. You guys know where we live. So just any help you need, we're always there.
Thanks, Alexandria. Stay warm, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.